Hi, my name is Deirdre Ace and I'm the designer behind lookatwhatimade.net. Although my patterns appear advanced, they're written specifically for adventurous beginners with lots of photos and tips to help you along the way. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this square. It's called Daisy's Bouquet and it's got these lovely little wheat stalk flowers in the corners. You might recognize them from Sophie's Universe. So this one was made with the Softfun Rainbow pack by Scheepjes, and it took 39 grams of yarn, 4mm hook, and it is 21.5 centimeters, which is about 8.5 inches. I've also made one with Scrumptious, which is a new double knit yarn by Scheepjes, and that one is made with 50% recycled plastic bottles and 50% acrylic, and it's got a lovely heathered look. Don't know if you can see, it's got a lovely heathered look and it feels really nice to work with. Works up a bit like a wool almost. I don't know if you can see. So that, for this one, I changed colors for the little stems and the little flowers, and I'll quickly touch on, in this tutorial, touch on how to do that. And I've also made one with Stone Washed XL, which is much bigger. I should probably say the Scrumptious one is 20 centimeters, which is 8 inches, and took 32 grams of yarn, so you can get 3 of these out of a ball if you make them in a single color. For the Stone Washed one, I used a 5.5 hook, but I recommend you use a 5 hook because I crochet very tightly. 92 grams of yarn, so 2 balls of Stone Washed XL. Not in this color, obviously. This is the Smoky Quartz, but it's a lovely yarn. One of my favorites. I use this in Sophie. Yep, so this one is 26.5 centimeters, which is 10.5 inches. Okay, let's get started. For round one, we're going to start with a magic ring. I like to use a double magic ring, so put the end of the yarn in my hand, wrap around these 2 fingers twice, my hook in, grab that piece of yarn, and then start my work. So we're going to start chain 5, and I'm going to be working, I want to make sure that I'm working over 3 ends. Now you're welcome to use the single magic ring as well if you prefer, or alternatively you can just start with an extra chain and then you can work into that chain, so a chain 6 and then work into the 6th chain from the hook if you don't like magic rings. I love magic rings. Right, so the chain 5 counts as your DC and chain 2 space, and we're going to make 3 double crochets into the magic ring. Making sure I'm working over all 3 strands. Oops. Chain 2, 3 double crochet again, chain 2, 3 double crochet again, chain 2. So we have 1, 2, 3 completed sides, and now we're going to complete this side that's got the chain 5 in it. So 2 double crochets, because that chain 5 counts as your first double crochet and the chain 2, and then we're going to close the magic ring. Now when you're working with a double magic ring, if you just pull on this end, it's only going to tighten one of the rings, and then what you're going to end up with is a massive loop. So what I like to do is it's like a hose pipe curled up. So you pull and then you see which loop starts moving. So that one was moving, and then I'm going to pull in the same direction, or from the same direction. I'm going to pull the one that was closing to close the second one, and once that one's closed, I'll pull on the end, and that's very secure now. Yep, I will still work this end away very well because I don't want it to come undone. So if you are using the same color for the next round, then you will slip stitch into the third chain of that chain 5. So I find it easier to count backwards, so that's 5, 4, so that will be in this one. You would slip stitch in there to close, and then you would slip stitch into the corner so that you are placed to start your next round. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the invisible join, so I'll show you how I do that. You can only use the invisible join if you are changing colors for the next round. So in essence, what it's going to do is it's going to make a fake top for that first stitch. So I'm going to pull all the way through, thread my yarn. Now you don't want to, with the slip stitch, you join into the stitch you want to join into. With the invisible join, you join into the next stitch so that you create a fake top for that stitch. So instead of going into the third chain, I'm going to go into the fourth through 2 loops of the fourth. So that third loop is still there. Front to back, pull through. And then I'm going to go down into the eye of that last stitch I made. And through that little back loop, top to bottom, and I'm going to pull through again. You will see that that creates a fake stitch. See? Right. So to lock that in place, I'm just going to go top to bottom through that loop again. Yep. So usually at this point I would work my ends away, but I'm not going to do that right now. So we'll just continue to the next round. I'm going to be using yellow for round 2. If you were using the same color, then you would have slip stitched into the corner space, and then you will then chain 3 to count as your first double crochet. Because I'm changing colors, I'm going to start with a standing double crochet, and which is the same as a normal double crochet but just made in air. There's nothing attached to it. So I'm going to yarn over, hold my fingers there, put it into the chain 2 corner space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, holding on there, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to do that again. So I have 2 double crochets in the corner, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets. I'm going to crochet into each of these 3 stitches along the side. So the first one might be slightly hidden by that corner. You'll have seen that I just pulled it away a little bit so I can see it. So I'm going to go in there, into the next one, and then into the next one. That one was my invisible join, by the way. So 2 DC, chain 2, 2 DC in the corner, and then DC in the next 3 stitches. And then I'm going to just go around, continue around until I get back to the beginning. Right, so I'm going to join with the invisible join now, and I will show you how to do that one more time, because the last time I showed you how to do it into a chain. This time I'll show you how to do it in a stitch. Of course, if you're using the same color, then you would just join to that stitch with a slip stitch and then slip stitch your way into the next chain 2 corner space. Right. So not into the first stitch for the invisible join, into the second stitch front to back, and that will just overlay a fake stitch on top of the stitch that's already there. Now some people, let me just undo this for a sec. Some people like to start their standing stitches without a slip knot already on their hook, but I like to do this. So if you did it without the slip knot, then you wouldn't get this top. You would just get sort of a twirly effect, but I find that way more fiddly. I like the control of starting with a slip knot, having that stitch, and I'd rather then overlay another one on top of that and then just work through both of them in the next round, which I will show you. Right, so front to back into the second stitch, into the eye of the last stitch I made, and the loop at the back, and then from top to bottom into that loop again. Right, so on this one I will work my ends away just so you can see how I do that. So I tend to work my way down just through the back bumps on the work, and then through the bottoms of the stitches. It's always useful if you can make your way to a corner, because the corners have a high density of stitches, so it's much neater to work your ends away in that corner. So once I've worked through a few stitches, then I'll double back on myself, skipping just one leg of that last stitch and then going all the way back. And then sometimes I'll do that a third time and just double back again. Depends on what mood I'm in. There we go. And so when I cut this, I'm talking with the needle in my mouth. When I cut this, super neat and not visible from the front. Yep. So that's round 2 made, and I'll now continue on to round 3. In round 3 we're going to start adding front post double crochets, and that will create the stems for the corner flowers. So if you're using the same color, you would chain 3. That would count as your first double crochet. I'm going to start with a standing double crochet. Then another double crochet into that same corner, chain 2, 2 more double crochets into the same chain 2 corner space. Right, so we're going to front post a double crochet around the first stitch. So yarn over, insert your from front to back and back to front around the post of that stitch and complete your double crochet as normal. See that the pink stitch hugs the yellow stitch and you can't see the top of the stitch. So we're going to double crochet in the next 5 stitches, and the first one will be hidden behind that post. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to front post double crochet around the last stitch. Right, 2 DC chain 2, 2 DC in the chain 2 corner space. So that's one side made. So I am going to show you what to do if you would like to make your squares solid and then only introduce color for the stems and for the flowers. So you would need to change color, and you would do so on the last yarn over of the last stitch before the color change. So because the next stitch will be the front post double crochet, which I want to color or change colors on, I'm just going to undo that last yarn over of the last stitch, because when we change colors we always do so on the last yarn over of the last stitch before the color change. So grab my new yarn and complete that stitch, then make a front post double crochet. Oops, shouldn't complete it, sorry. Make a front post double crochet around that stitch, completing it with the original color. Oh, I'm being very fiddly now. Yep. And then working over the ends, you will double crochet in the next 5 stitches. The first one is hidden, remember. fiddly business. Five, and the fifth one I won't complete. I will complete it with the new color. Make a front post double crochet around that last post, changing colors again on the last yarn over. And then I'll complete my corner as normal. So if you are doing this, you have two options. You can either work over your yarn, over your contrast yarn for the entire round, or you can join the yarn and then cut it off at the end of each stitch. So I don't recommend doing that because you'll end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 ends to sew away. So for most of the rounds, I would just work over my yarn. Now you will find that some of it will be a little bit visible if you do this way. So if you work quite tightly, this won't be a problem. If you're a very loose crocheter, that might be a problem. But it wasn't, I don't think it, you can see it a little bit there, but I don't think on the whole it makes a massive difference to the square. So I'm going to undo that now, do the whole square just in a single, or whole round in a single color, and then I will show you what it looks like at the end. So when you get to the end and you've made that last front post double crochet, you will join, if you're using the same color, you will join to the first stitch with a slip stitch and then slip stitch your way into the corner space. If you are going to change colors, then fasten off. You can either join with a slip stitch if you want, or I'm going to join with the invisible join. Round 4 is a simple single crochet round, and we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the corner to start. So if you were using the same yarn, you would chain 1 and then make your first single crochet, but because I'm changing colors, I'm going to start with a standing stitch. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that chain 2 corner space, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the 11 stitches across. First one will be hidden. And 11, and then into the next chain 2 corner space we're going to do single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again. Right, so that is your repeat from this first single crochet after the first corner right back to that corner. So we're going to repeat that 3 more times, and then we're going to omit the corner at the end because we've already made that. Right, so that brings us back to the corner, and I'm going to join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch if I'm going to use the same color, and then slip stitch my way to the corner. But because I'm doing changing colors, I'm going to use the invisible join. In round 5, we're going to continue making front post double crochets for those corner flowers. If you use the same color, you'll start with a chain 1 in that corner, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. I'm starting with a standing single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, so now we're going to skip the hidden stitch and make a single crochet in the next stitch. So skip the hidden stitch, make a single crochet in the next stitch. Front post DC around the first DC from round 3. Now if you wanted to change colors for this, the detail like we discussed in round 3, then you would have to change colors before and after this stitch, and then before and after the next front post DC again. working over your ends as you go. So skip the next stitch of round 4, single crochet in the next stitch, make a front post DC around the front post, double crochet from round 3, skip the stitch, next stitch of round 4, single crochet in the next 5 stitches. Right, there should now be 3 stitches left, 1, 2, 3, front post double crochet around the next front post double crochet, skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet around the last stitch of round 3, skip that last stitch, make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the next corner. So that's one side done, and I'll repeat that from this first single crochet there to the corner 3 more times, omitting the last corner on the last repeat, and I'll see you back at the end of the round. So I'm at the end of the round. I've finished the last front post double crochet, and I will now join to the first stitch with a slip stitch. If you're using the same color, if you're using a different color, you can join to the first stitch with a slip stitch, or you can use the invisible join. If you're using the same color, remember to slip stitch into that chain 2 corner space as well. In round 6, we're going to make our first set of popcorns. If you are using the same color, you'll start with a chain 2, counts as your first HDC, half double crochet. I'm starting with a standing half double crochet in any chain 2 corner space, half double crochet in the same space, chain 2, 2 more half double crochets in the same space. We will skip the first stitch, make a half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And we'll make a popcorn in the next stitch, which should be the second front post double crochet from the previous round. So to make a popcorn, you make 5 double crochets in the same stitch. If you're going to be changing colors for these popcorns, you'll need to change them before and after each popcorn and work over your ends as you go. I'll show you how to do that as soon as we've done this side. So put up a long loop, remove your hook, insert it into the first DC of the 5 DC group, and pull that loop through the stitch. Half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. First one's a bit fiddly. Then you'll make a popcorn in the next stitch, which will be the first front post DC of those 2 at the end. Five double crochets in the same stitch. Put up a long loop, insert your hook into the first of the 5 stitches and pull that loop through. Half double crochet in the last 3 stitches. And then make 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets in the chain 2 corner space. So that is your first side made, and I'll do that 3 more times, omitting the last corner on the last repeat. I'm just going to show you how I change colors for the popcorns. So skipping the first stitch, make a half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and then on the last yarn over we're going to change yarn. over the ends, like 5 DC in the same stitch. And on the last double crochet, on the last yarn over, swap back to the original color. I have to tug that a bit so that it doesn't make a massive loop there. Into the first double crochet and pull through to complete your stitch. And then you would just continue as normal. Okay, I'm going to undo that and I'll see you back at the end of the round. Right, I've completed all 4 sides. And so if you're using the same color, you'll be joining to the first stitch with a slip stitch and then slip stitching into the next one and into the chain 2 corner space. I'll be joining with an invisible join. So if you are starting with the same color, you'll do a chain 2, counts as your first half double crochet. I'm going to do a standing half double crochet in any chain 2 corner space, and then another one, chain 2, 2 more half double crochets in the same space. That's your first corner made, and then we'll skip the first hidden stitch, and it is truly hidden, and we're going to make a half double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to now make a front post treble around the first single crochet from round 5. Tricky to get into. Skip the next stitch and make a half double crochet in the next stitch. Make a front post treble around the first front post DC from round 5. We'll skip the next stitch, which is the one, the stitch before the popcorn, and then we're going to make half double crochet in the next 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So to have a look at our work, the first half double crochet should fall in the popcorn. The last half double crochet should fall in the second half double crochet after the popcorn. So 1, 2, and there's 1, 2, 3 stitches left. We'll make a front post treble around the next front post DC from round 5. Skip the next stitch, make an HDC in the next stitch. My tongue gets so twisted with saying all these stitches. Front post treble around the last single crochet from round 5. Skip the last stitch, half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet in the next chain 2 space. So that's the first side made. 2 front post trebles, and your 9 DCs, you've checked that the first one fell in a popcorn and the last one fell in the second HDC after a popcorn. So I'll continue that round doing the exact same thing, and I'll meet you back at the corner. So I have made the last front post treble of the round, and if you are using the same color, you will join in the first stitch with a slip stitch, then slip stitch into the next stitch and into the chain 2 corner space. I'll be joining with the invisible join. In round 8 we'll be making popcorns again. If you've used the same color, you will chain 2 from that corner space, chain 2, which counts as your first half double crochet. I will be starting with the standing half double crochet. Make another half double crochet into the same, chain 2 space, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochet into the same space. We'll skip the first hidden stitch, which is well and truly hidden, and make a half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll make a popcorn in the next stitch, which should be the front post treble from the previous round. Oopsies. Half double crochet in the next 9 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll make another popcorn in the next stitch, which should be the next front post treble. Going to half double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet into the next chain 2 corner space. So that is your first side made, and I'll repeat that 3 more times, omitting the last corner on the last repeat, and I'll meet you back where we join. So I've completed the round, and if you're using the same color, you'll join to the first stitch with a slip stitch, then slip stitch into the next stitch and into the chain 2 space. I'm going to join with invisible join. Round 9 is another asymmetric round. If you're using the same color, you will start with a chain 1 and then single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space. I'm going to start with a standing single crochet. Or I'm not going to start. Let's try that again. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space. We're going to skip the first hidden stitch and then single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Front post treble around the first HDC from round 7. It's green one in this case, dark green. Skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble around the front post treble from round 7. Skip the next stitch and single crochet into the next 13 stitches. So the first one will fall in the popcorn, which is there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The last one will fall in the second half double crochet after the popcorn. So front post treble around the next front post treble from round 7. Skip the next stitch and make a single crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble around the last HTC from round 7. Skip the next stitch and make a single crochet in the last stitch. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 corner space. And that is your first side made. I'll do that 3 more times and see you back at the end. So I'm back at the end, and if you're using the same color, you will join in the first stitch with a slip stitch and then slip stitch into the chain 2 corner space. I'll be using the invisible join. Round 10 is another single crochet round, so if you're using the same color, you will start in the corner with a chain 1, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, starting with a standing stitch, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. We'll skip the first stitch, single crochet in the next 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a popcorn in the next stitch, which will be the front post treble. Single crochet in the next 13 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I should start counting in Afrikaans. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Popcorn in the next stitch, which should be the next front post treble. Single crochet in the last 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 2 corner space. And that is your first side done. So I will see you back at the end of the round. So I'm at the end of the round. I've made my last 4 single crochets, and if you're using the same color, you will join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch and then slip stitch into the chain 2 corner space. I'll be joining with an invisible join. Round 11 is another asymmetric round, and if you are going to have trouble identifying the third single crochet of round 10, so 1, 2, 3, then go ahead and mark that with a stitch marker before you start. If you're starting with the same color, you'll chain 1 and then single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner. I'm starting with a standing single crochet in any chain 2 corner space. Chain 2, single crochet again. So now we're going to make a front post treble around the first half double crochet from around 8. I'm going to skip the first 2 stitches, 1, 2, and a single crochet in the third stitch. If you find it hard to count from this side, then you'll notice that there should be 2 single crochet left, so you can just count back 3, 2, 1, and then make a single crochet in that stitch. So front post double crochet around the front post treble from round 9, skip the next stitch of round 10 and single crochet in the next 18 stitches. The 2nd and 16th stitch should fall in a popcorn. So skip the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Make a front post double crochet around the front post treble from round 9. Skip the next stitch and make a single crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble around the last half double crochet from round 8. Right, skip the last stitch and make single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that chain 2 corner space. So that's your first side made, and I'll go ahead and complete the other 3. I've completed the last front post treble of the last side. So if you're using the same color, you will join to the first stitch there with a slip stitch and then slip stitch into the chain 2 corner space. I'll be joining with an invisible join. In round 12 we're going to make popcorns again. If you're using the same color, you will start with a chain 2 that will count as your first half double crochet. I'm going to start with a standing half double crochet in any chain 2 corner space, and another half double crochet, chain 2, 2 more half double crochet into that same space. I'm going to skip the first stitch, make a front post DC around the next front post treble from round 11, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then make a popcorn in the next stitch, which will be the front post DC. Half double crochet in the next 18 stitches. That will bring us back to the next front post double crochet, popcorn in that front post double crochet. Half double crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet around the next front post treble, skip the last stitch and make 2 half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet in the chain 2 corner space. So So that's our first side done. I'm going to repeat that 3 more times, omitting the last corner on the last repeat. I've completed the last front post DC of the last side. So if you're using the same color, you would join to that first stitch with a slip stitch, then slip stitch into the next stitch and into the chain 2 corner space. I'll use the invisible join. You'll notice that this is the only round where you have posts and popcorns in the same round. So if you are using a different color to highlight the posts and the popcorns, then you'd have to change colors for the, use one color for the stems and one color for the popcorns. I found that working over 2 strands for the entire round was a bit too visible. So what I did was I joined my contrasting colors before each corner, finished the corner, and then cut them again, so that I ended up with 2 ends on either side of each corner, which I worked away. I just found that much neater. In round 13 we'll be making more popcorns, and that will complete the flowers. If you're using the same color, you'll start with a chain 3, which will count as your double crochet. I'm starting with a standing double crochet. So the corners are slightly different in this one. Let's make another double crochet. And then instead of making a chain 2 corner, we're going to make a popcorn. So I'm going to count 5 back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that I end up with 2 double crochets and a popcorn. I'm going to make 2 more double crochets into that same chain 2 corner space. Okay, I'm going to skip the first stitch, make a popcorn in the next stitch. Oh, sorry, nope. Let's rewind. Skip the first stitch, which is very much hidden, make a double crochet in the next stitch. Make a popcorn in the next stitch, which will be the front post double crochet. Just checking my corner to make sure that I have 2 double crochets, a popcorn, 2 double crochets, then that first double crochet and the next popcorn. Now I'm going to DC in the next 22 stitches. The 21st one will fall in the popcorn, and 22. Make a popcorn in the next stitch, which will be the front post double crochet. Right, take a breather. Skip the next stitch, make a DC in the next stitch. Be the last stitch. Okay, chain 2, sorry, 2 DC in the chain 2 corner space, popcorn in the same space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more double crochets in the same chain 2 corner space. Oh, come on. I think it's time for me to take a break. Right. So that is one side done. I'll complete the other 3, omitting the last corner on the last repeat. So I finished the last side, and if you're using the same color, you'll be joining to that first double crochet with a slip stitch, then slip stitch into the next stitch and into the popcorn. I'll be joining with an invisible join. Round 14 is a simple double crochet round. We're going to start, if you're starting with the same color, you'll be in that popcorn, so you'll chain 3 to count as your double crochet. I will be starting with a standing double crochet in that popcorn. And I'll make 2 more double crochets into the same popcorn. Chain 2, make 3 double crochets in the next stitch. So that is your first corner made. So we're going to double crochet in the next 29 stitches. The 3rd and 26th stitch should fall in a popcorn. The 26th stitch in the popcorn. 27, 28, 29, 3 double crochets in the next stitch, which is the popcorn. Chain 2, 3 double crochet in the next stitch. Right, so that's the first side made. I'll repeat that 3 more times, omitting the last corner on the last repeat. So at the end of round 14, if you're using the same color for the next round, then you can join with a slip stitch in this stitch and then slip stitch your way into the corner. I'm going to use invisible join. In round 15, we'll be using back post double crochets to create a lovely little ridge all around, like a frame. If you are using the same color, you'll have slip stitched your way into this corner. You will chain 4, which will count as your half double crochet, and chain 2 space, and then you will half double crochet into that space again. I'm starting with a standing half double crochet, not a very neat one, but there we go, and another half double crochet in that same space. I'm going to back post double crochet around each of the 35 stitches across. To do that, yarn over, insert your hook from back to front, and then from front to back around the post of that stitch you're going to be working into. And then, do that again. Yarn over, insert from back to front, and then from front to back around that stitch, and then complete your double crochet as normal. And that will form a little dotted line that will run all the way under the tops of the purple stitches. So I find it very fiddly to do it with the front of my work facing me, like this. So what I end up doing is I end up turning my work towards me. If you're concerned that you might have missed a stitch somewhere, I just periodically turn my work back so I can see the front, and then check that that little dotted line isn't broken. Obviously, if you've missed a stitch, you'll see that it won't have a little blue band like that. So this is a bit fiddly to video, but I will make my very slow way to the end of the round, to the end of the row. to the end of the side. Right, so once I've worked into each stitch across, I will do a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet in the next chain 2 corner space. So 35 back post DC across, HDC, chain 2, HDC in each corner. I'll complete the square and then meet you back at the start. So I'm at the end of the round and I'm going to join to the first stitch with a slip stitch and then slip stitch into the next chain 2 space because I'll be using the same color for the next round. So round 16 is the final round and it's a simple double crochet round. I'm going to start with chain 3, which will count as my first double crochet, and then a double crochet in the same chain 2 space, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same chain 2 space. I'm going to skip the first hidden stitch and then double crochet in each of the 36 remaining stitches. So skipping that stitch, 2, 3, 5, 36. DC in the chain 2 corner space and another double crochet, chain 2, 2 more double crochet. Right, so that is the first side done. I'm going to complete the other 3, omitting the last corner on the last repeat. Here I'm back at the start and we can join to the third chain of the beginning chain 3 with a slip stitch. Should be in there. But I am going to join with an invisible join, and this time I'll fast forward it, but I'll do it on camera. All done. Now she's a bit wobbly, so I'm just going to block her. Okay, so she's all done and I'm going to block her, and I'm just going to use regular old pins because all my fancy pins are currently being used to block an unseen mandala in Whirl, which looks lovely, by the way. Okay, so I am going to pin her out nice and tight, and I'll probably have pins in my mouth most of the time, so I'm just going to fast forward this bit. Right. So you could do a wet blocking, in which case you would wet the square first. I do a steam blocking, so I'm going to use my pretty grimy iron, making sure that I don't touch the work and it's on a steam setting. Right, so I will leave that for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'll unpin and we can see the difference. So after 10 or 15 minutes, I will just unpin my square. And look at that, look how neat those corners are. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. I hope you've enjoyed making this square, and yeah, have a lovely day.